There's something about shrimp from a restaurant that feels so far away from what we make at home. If you're trying to step up your shrimp game, the world is your oyster. The difference between good shrimp and great shrimp is freshness. Restaurants often have industry connections and suppliers that allow them to source high-quality local shrimp that gives their meals a leg up on home cooking. As Craig Norman, GM of Pensacola, Florida restaurant Red Fish Bluefish puts it, there's nothing quite like shrimp that's been caught straight out of the Gulf of Mexico. While the majority of wild shrimp in the U.S. is sourced from the Gulf, it is also fished along the southeastern coast in the Carolinas. When shopping for fresh shrimp, registered dietitian and blogger at Dish on Fish, Rima Kleiner, suggests looking for a firm texture, a mild saltwater smell, and intact tails. Be sure to avoid any shrimp that seems soft or slimy or has a strong ammonia-like odor, as this can signal the shrimp has gone bad. Paying close attention to the quality of your star ingredients will help ensure your final dish is delicious. For those who don't live near a coast, you can also opt for frozen shrimp. Since those are usually flash frozen shortly after they're caught, their freshness and flavor are generally maintained. Shrimp comes in many different shapes and sizes, and choosing the right one can make or break a dish. While larger shrimp are perfect for raw bar recipes like shrimp cocktail, smaller shrimp are ideal for dishes like tacos or seafood stews. Professional chefs in restaurant kitchens are well versed in the different types of shrimp and which sizes are the best fit for which dishes. At the supermarket, you'll often be able to identify the size by determining how many shrimp are in a 1-pound bag. The fewer the shrimp per pound, the larger the size of each shrimp. Just remember that the larger the shrimp, the longer it takes to cook. When cooking from a recipe, be sure to account for any differences in shrimp size between what's recommended and what you've purchased to make sure everything cooks through. While all shrimp may look the same to the untrained eye, there are many different varieties. Each has its own pros, cons, and flavors, and chefs know exactly which type to choose to best complement the dish they're preparing. White shrimp is one of the most common varieties and is fished along the entire eastern seaboard of the United States and Gulf Coast, and can be found fresh or frozen in the grocery store, and is popular thanks to its sweet, mild flavor. White shrimp also quickly absorbs flavors, making it perfect for marinating or using in dishes with plenty of sauce. Another common option is pink shrimp, which is found from the warmer waters off the coast of Florida down to Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. This large variety gets its name from its light pink color when raw. It's sweet, tender, and extra meaty, making it ideal for things like raw bar or shrimp boils. Brown shrimp, rock shrimp, and tiger shrimp are all other widely available options. It never hurts to try incorporating these different varieties in your dishes to give the final product a more elevated, unexpected flavor. Achieving a restaurant-quality shrimp dish largely comes down to prep. Without taking the time to ensure the shrimp are cleaned, dried, and seasoned well, a dish will surely fall flat. Kleiner suggests, allow the shrimp to come to room temperature for about 10 to 15 minutes before cooking to help ensure even cooking. Once the shrimp reaches room temperature, shell it and remove the head. You can also remove the tail, so you don't have to avoid it while eating. Patting the shrimp dry will also help get a nice brown sear. This step is particularly important if your shrimp was thawed from frozen and has a lot of excess moisture. To keep shrimp moist and to lock in flavor, you can also employ a dry brine. A mix of salt and baking soda will help keep shrimp moist while encouraging a nice crunch. Add the raw shrimp to your mixture about an hour before cooking, and you won't regret it. Since many popular shrimp recipes are relatively simple, you might be surprised how much finding the right marinade can transform a dish. As Kleiner says, while shrimp is delicious with just a drizzle of oil or butter, lemon juice, and fresh herbs, using a marinade can enhance the flavor. Dried herbs, spices, aromatics, and condiments like mustard will complement the mild flavor of shrimp for nearly endless possibilities. For something Mediterranean-inspired, a marinade might include olive oil and herbs like dill, fennel, and cumin. A Cajun dish may have onion and garlic powders, paprika, black pepper, and cayenne. And while many meats and seafoods benefit from marinating a long time, you only want to marinate shrimp for about half an hour. Any longer can compromise the texture and lead to an unappetizing final product.
I suggest that one marinate.
Kleiner also warns that it's best to limit acids in your marinade. As she explains, acid breaks down the proteins in shrimp, which can make the shrimp tougher if in vinegar or citrus juice for too long. Acidic liquids like vinegar or orange juice will denature the protein in the shrimp, causing the seafood to essentially cook without heat. And while this can be great for dishes like ceviche, the denatured proteins usually result in an unappealing, mushy texture. It may be tempting to toss shrimp into a hot pan and sauté it up almost instantly, but professional cooks prefer to take their time to deliver the luscious, tender texture everyone loves. Heating the shrimp slowly is pivotal to preserving that tenderness, so patience is key. Discussing how important this step is, Kleiner explains, while boiling shrimp typically takes around 5 minutes, slowly raising the temperature of the water leads to a more tender texture. By allowing the shrimp to cook more gradually, you reduce the risk of overcooking. The length of time the shrimp cooks also depends on its size. Kleiner notes, a good rule of thumb to keep in mind is to cook medium shrimp for about 3 minutes, large shrimp for about 5 minutes, and jumbo shrimp for about 7 minutes. Regardless of the cooking method, look for a color transition from blue to red-pink, and watch for the meat to turn opaque before removing from the heat. These indicators will help you know when to pull the shrimp from the heat to avoid the dreaded rubbery texture that results from overcooking. Shrimp is endlessly versatile, making it the perfect protein for a variety of dishes.
Shrimp soup, shrimp stew, shrimp salad, shrimp and potatoes.
And while it's easy to focus on a single style, cooking shrimp in different ways helps restaurants diversify their menus and bring out new flavors and textures. Kleiner suggests sautéing, grilling, or boiling shrimp to enhance the flavor and achieve a perfect texture. Alternatively, Norman recommends lightly frying the shrimp for a crisp, satisfying crunch. Cultures all over the world cook shrimp in different ways. So next time you're in the mood for some Creole cuisine, a refreshing pasta, or something more Asian-inspired, try incorporating shrimp in a new way to see what it adds. Though shrimp holds its own against bold flavors, it's often most delicious prepared simply with fresh ingredients. As Norman suggests, in my kitchen, I prioritize using basic yet high-quality ingredients paired with proper cooking techniques to bring the best out of shrimp. Fresh lemon juice and zest add a bright acidity, while kosher salt and coarse ground pepper enhance the flavor profile. Fats like butter or oil complement these zesty flavors and round out the dish nicely. For something a little more sophisticated that emulates restaurant preparation, home chefs can also add a little white wine to their pan for a rich, layered taste. Norman reflects, I wholeheartedly adhere to the old culinary adage that seafood must swim 3 times. First in water, then in butter, and finally in wine, which I find holds true for shrimp, as it creates a divine combination that tantalizes the palate. One great way to test this theory for yourself is with classics like shrimp scampi. Using some white wine to deglaze the pan is an essential step in many scampi recipes and ensures your dish is as flavorful as possible. Unconventional flavor pairings can set a restaurant apart, but there's nothing compared to the classic combinations that keep people coming back. Shrimp dishes like gumbo, shrimp and grits, or shrimp scampi are all perfect ways to showcase beautiful fresh seafood. But just because a dish is tried and true, it doesn't mean you can't put your own twist on it. Discussing one of his own spins on a classic, Norman says, my culinary journey in Charleston, South Carolina, further enriched my appreciation for shrimp in the iconic dish of shrimp and grits, accompanied by a savory tasso gravy. This dish has become my go-to recipe, encapsulating the essence of comfort food while offering a sophisticated palette of flavors that complements the sweetness of the shrimp beautifully. To implement the restaurant approach in your own kitchen, take your favorite shrimp dish and come up with your own interpretation. From something simple, like swapping out spices or sauces, to concocting more elaborate creations, shrimp is an easy and versatile choice.
Okay, I see you.
You see me?
Yeah, combining ingredients.
Shrimp isn't just a great option for recipes, it's also a blank canvas for pairing side dishes. As Norman notes, my favorites reflect my southern roots. A staple in my cooking is good southern cheese grits, infused with grated Parmesan and tangy goat cheese that enriches the dish's velvety texture. In addition to grits, Norman also favors a diverse range of sides to pair with shrimp.
Sides? Sides? $26,000 worth of sides?
He says, pasta frequently graces my table as well, and I love complementing my shrimp dishes with fresh local vegetables that vary with the seasons. In the spring and summer months, opt for grilled vegetables like asparagus or zucchini. Shrimp is also a popular add-on to Caesar or garden salads for those looking for a light, refreshing meal. During the winter months, opt for heartier options like broccoli, potatoes, or cauliflower. With so many ways to cook shrimp and vegetables, the combinations are endless.